This is, oh, wait, now, okay, yes, let me just, yes, please quickly send out to everybody on the email list. Great idea. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. And send them the alternate password because we've got now about 20 people on the call, and Laurie's typing as fast as she can to get the people who are emailing in. But yes, send it out. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Hello, everyone in cyberspace who's not here on the call and wondering what the heck happened to the password. It was the wrong password. So I got on the call at a little before 5 tonight, just like I always do. And I'm all by myself on Zoom. Now, the minute I saw that, I knew something was wrong. And then I started remembering how I had seen some emails come in earlier that my team handles saying the password doesn't work. And I thought, well, that's odd. But long story short, it's one of those days, and it's a techno day, the kind where you want to take your laptop and throw it out the window. I won't. I will not do that. I will keep my cool, and I'm just happy to see you guys here, and thank you for emailing. And Laurie, I know, is getting people in here as fast as she can, and then my other assistant's going to just blast an email out to everybody else and hope we'll get some more people. And as Allison is pointing out, thank you, tech, because without the tech, she's in Australia. And without the tech, I would never be able to reach the millions of people that I've been able to reach. So, everything has a flip side. Everything, everything, everything. And one day, you love it, and one day you just want to pull your hair out. So this is life. And this is where it's interesting, because I was telling the others that were here earlier that I had a client earlier today, and we both had Zoom issues. It was a private client. And I watched her for about 10 minutes. It said, trying to join the call, trying to join the call. And I knew she was probably having internet issues. And, she's here to work with me one-on-one, taking time out of her life. I'm there and I'm waiting and waiting. And then finally she gets on, and then my entire screen goes black. And I realize I'm not even in Zoom anymore. I got bumped out. So then I couldn't get back on. So I dial in over my phone, and I can feel her pain just getting worse by the second, right? And she's coming to me for chronic help with chronic pain, I could just feel it, right? So 17 minutes it took us to get together on one device where we could have a call and have a session. And this is the perfect segue to the purpose for tonight's bonus call, which is how to live pain-free. Subline: when you live in a world with frustrating things that happen every damn minute of every damn day, how do you live pain-free when you've got this kind of stuff going on? You can't control your husband, you can't control your kids, you can't control the traffic, you can't control the weather, you can't control the Zoom. And so how do we live and remain calm and pain-free without a physical, mental, emotional, energetic reaction when life doesn't go our way? Because I don't know about you, I get up every morning and I have a plan. It's written down, it's on my calendar. Everybody that works with me and for me and goes, we all have a plan. And then the plan goes awry. And there are some things that you can't control at all, and some things that you can. And years ago, before I stumbled upon this road and my pain got me here, and welcome to all those of you who are coming to the call. I'm so glad you emailed. I hope you saw the email or the that Laurie gave you the password. Thank you for being persistent. Just, we're talking about how everything in life, everything has both, it can seem like a blessing or a curse, depending on the moment and depending on how attached we are to a specific outcome. This is the key to pain-free living, really. How attached are we to a specific outcome? What do I mean by that? To my kids doing something I want them to do, the traffic getting me there, flowing so I can get where I plan to go on time, my plane taking off on time, my Zoom link working correctly, my husband saying what I want him to say, my boss giving me a raise, whatever it is. We want something in life. We want our bodies to go and feel a certain way. We want to wake up in the morning with energy. We want to go dancing or hiking or yoga or gardening or playing with our kids and grandkids. But something's not working and going the way we want. And this creates pain. If it goes on long enough, why? Because we are resisting what is. And I want you to take this in, think about it, and then I want you to write it down. The number one reason that most everyone suffers from whatever they're suffering from is that they're resisting a certain reality that is the way it is right now in this moment, but they want their reality to be something else. They want their husband to act a different way, their kids to act a different way, their back to act a different way, their sleep to be different. They want something to be different, but it is what it is. Now, I'm not saying that you just accept that I'm going to be in pain the rest of my life and learn to live with it and cope with it and take drugs till you're sick as a dog. That's not what I'm saying. Don't misunderstand. But when you accept that something is the way it is, and then you ask, in this moment, what would bring me peace? Now, I can guarantee you that fighting something that is will only bring you tension and never bring you peace. Fighting brings tension. Tension is at the root of all physical pain. If it goes on long enough, tension's at the root of all physical dis-ease. If it goes on long enough, it becomes a chronic condition. Tension is at the root of all marital troubles. If it goes on long enough, it can turn into divorce. Tension is at the root of all dis-ease. Have you ever felt tension in your body? How many of you have not ever felt tension in your body or with another human being, right? You know what it is. We all feel it because our body gives us feedback 24/7. We know when we tighten up, we know when we tense up, we know when we feel uncomfortable. It could be talking, it could be reading something, it could be listening to something, it could be doing something. There's constant information that we are getting from our body all day long in every situation with every person, whether we're with someone or alone, that tells us whether we're in ease or we're in dis-ease. That's a good thing. We want that. But we live in a world that basically has taught us that you should never feel dis-ease. And if you do, like my father would say, there's a pill for everything. That is insanity, in my opinion. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't take pills or supplements or anything. But I'm saying is that the idea that the only way to fix something is to take something for it, to get rid of it and suppress the symptom. That's what's different in this universe. We're not about suppressing, repressing, denying, medicating, numbing out symptoms. Your symptoms are your best friend. They will show you every step of the way when you have stepped off of the right path. Now, if you are hiking in the woods and you're going on a camping trip and you plan to be there for a few days or a week or longer, and you've got a compass and your compass is telling you, according to the map, that you're going in the wrong direction, you don't want to throw out that compass. You want to look at the compass. You want to listen to the compass. You want to trust the compass. You and I and everyone are wired with an inner compass. I call it an inner GPS. if we don't listen to it, if we don't turn it on, if we don't look at it, it's there, it's working, but we're not following its direction. Your body is always telling you, I'm on the right path, I'm not on the right path. Why would you want to numb that out or deny it or pretend or suppress or repress? I'll tell you why. Because you were taught, probably as a young child, that it wasn't okay, you weren't safe to follow your guidance, that it was unacceptable for you to follow your guidance, that you would look stupid, you would be criticized, you would be shamed, you would be made to feel guilty, you would be different, you would be labeled cuckoo, crazy, weirdo. So you stopped following your guidance. And you started doing what someone else told you you should do, that would be better for you, that would be smarter. You gave your power to an authority figure. Now, when you're 6, it makes sense to do that because you don't know any better. And it's not your fault. And until the age of 8 or 9, the brain does not know the difference between what's going to help us and what's going to harm us. It is only feeling everything. And if you feel scared, you will do what the big people tell you to do. Even if you don't understand it, even if you have a disconnect inside, even if you have a sense that it's not right, you'll do what the big people tell you to do because your survival is connected to those big people. Now, the problem occurs when you're 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, and you're still doing what the 6-year-old did. This is where the roots of chronic pain and chronic conditions are showing up in a bigger, bolder way based on a faulty understanding of how to live your life, how to listen to your inner guidance, how to follow the compass. And boy, oh boy, I know it all too well. And I did that for about 14 years until it truly almost killed me, or I would have killed myself because I wanted to die. I felt so bad. I had so much anxiety and pain and depression and a critical committee in my head that never took a day off and never let me alone. And I was very, very conflicted. And yet, on the outside looking in, I had a big, beautiful home, a handsome husband, a big house with all the stuff and a great job and money in the bank. And you would have maybe thought, oh, she has a good life. Little did anyone know what was going on the inside. Never compare your insides to someone else's outsides. You have no clue what's going on. I have worked with millionaires and billionaires who look like they really are happy people and they're dying inside. And you would never know it. Never compare anything that's going on within you to someone else because you're not them and they're not you. And you have your own unique path to follow. That's the big secret. You aren't here to follow my life plan, path. You're here to discover your own. I'm not here to tell you what to do, how to think, how to live your life, what to take, not take, what to do, not. I'm here to help you think correctly. Feel your authentic feelings, which secret number 2 are the key to your path, and to help you discover that you do have an inner voice that's the key guiding light to help you learn how to live pain-free. It is not a magic pill that's going to help you learn how to live pain-free. Until you start clearing away the conditioning, the hypnosis, the programming from childhood that told you, do this, never do that, always do this, act this way, sit up straight, walk the line, until you learn to clear some of that out so you can hear your own inner guidance, until you learn that you're safe here anyway to express your feelings, that you need to find a safe space to have and express your feelings because they will never lie. And your body will never lie. And your body always knows when something's not right for you. And if you learn to turn that off, you have to get back in touch with your body, your emotional state. This is closer than breathing. It will never let you down. And you don't need a PhD to do this. It's God-given. What we need to do is unlearn probably what you learned in getting your PhD. We have to unlearn and then relearn how to be back more in alignment with your instinctual knowing. Knowing is different than learning something. Knowing is not intellectual learning. You don't know something from a book. You know something from an experience. Let me say that again. You don't know something from reading a book or watching a video or listening to a podcast. You know something when you experience it. And then you form thoughts about it. And here's where people often get off course, is they form incorrect thoughts about it. Now, as children, most of us did that. I've never met anyone yet who didn't do that to some degree, and some people do it to a huge degree. They have an experience. There's screaming and yelling, there's violence, there's abuse, there's neglect. Somebody says something, even they don't even mean any harm by it, but we hear something else and we give it meaning that isn't necessarily true, or sometimes it is true. It is what they meant. But whatever, whether we got it right or whether we imagined it in an incorrect way, we start thinking about it and we form a belief. And those thoughts and those beliefs that we form, they generate an emotion. So for example, my grandfather didn't speak English, and he came here. He left Russia because he didn't like communism and he saw what was coming, and he came to America, and he actually built a business here, and he still never spoke English. And do you remember what an abacus is, anybody? He ran his entire business using an abacus. They didn't have calculators in those days. They had like hand type of adding machines, I think they were called. And that they didn't have computers, they didn't have smartphones, they didn't have, Siri to ask, and they didn't have much at all except manual, and an abacus was a very sophisticated way of speeding up addition, subtraction, and doing all the math for his books. He did all his books with an abacus. So I remember he would come over for dinner every Friday night, and my cousins would come over, and I had a cousin, Donnie, who was the same age as myself. And my grandfather would sit us down to teach us how to use the abacus. You might as well been talking to me and trying to teach me like how to do electrical wiring, in a building or something. I just didn't know what he was talking about. I couldn't get it. And Donnie could get it. And so my grandfather would look at me and say, "What's wrong with you? Your cousin gets it. He's smarter than you. Why can't you do it? He can do it. Why can't you?" So I immediately, at a very young age, started thinking, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm stupid. I can't get this. I'm never going to get this. Why can't? And the more tension, if you were here at the beginning of the call, what did I say? Tension creates disease, pain, suffering. So I remember feeling like so tense around my grandfather, because he was going to call me and see me, and I was going to find out I really am stupid. And he was going to remind me of it every Friday night. Good God. So the tension I was carrying, and the more tense you get, the less oxygen to your brain, because you stop breathing. You hold your breath and you breathe very shallow when you're tense. So you're not going to think better. You're not going to, even if you try harder, you're going to strain more. Now, I want to tell you, I was haunted by this idea that I'm stupid all throughout my life. I can see until I was about 28, 29 years old and started doing a lot of healing work on myself. I had a very solidly formed belief that not only was I stupid, it wouldn't even, I shouldn't even bother trying to learn anything, go back to college. Just don't even try, because I will never get it right. Do you see how this one idea, see, every idea generates an emotional reaction, and your emotions are behind every choice you make. Every choice you make starts with an emotion, and then you back it up with a belief. I kept myself from succeeding for almost 3 decades. And lo and behold, once I started clearing out these false, fake, not true ideas, and I started timidly opening up to more possibilities, to thinking about myself in a different way, to thinking about my health and my body in a different way. And by that time, I had developed a lot of symptoms of pain and disease, a lot. And I started healing, and I started seeing, oh my goodness, the body can change, the mind can change, I can change, I am a different person. And I kept working on myself and working on myself. See, this is how I'm here today, and why somehow, not somehow, I know how, because I kept on the trail, and I got over my shame and my I'm stupid message that I bought into. And that helped me build a life, go back to school, finish degrees, get more degrees, learn a lot of new skills, and end up here today with you on Zoom, which I still can't figure out, but I don't take it personally anymore. I just know it's a tech thing that I didn't do on purpose. You see, everything we think every day, all day long, that self-talk that's going on inside you is either contributing to your health or your health hell. If you don't take the time to examine closely and learn some kind of tool to delete faulty beliefs, to interrupt your repetitive habits of thought, and we're all doing it. The brain's wired to think 90,000 thoughts a day on average. That's a lot of thoughts. And if the majority of those are negative, how do you think that's going to affect your health? I can guarantee you how it's going to affect your health. It will create pain and symptoms of disease. I guarantee it. We gather experiences from life. We're collecting emotional experiences, mental experiences, mental information all day, every day, including when we sleep. And yet, when pain shows up or symptoms show up, and we go typically to a professional for help, how many of them ever go deep with you into your thought processes and your emotions? In my case, it was zero. Most of the people I work with, it's zero. What they tend to do in the world that we live in is ask, where does it hurt? Let's take a test. It's as if they're trying to diagnose a car and find out which belt is broken, which thing needs replacing, which car part is defective. You are not a car with defective car parts. Your body gives you symptoms to try to help you listen to the message that's deeper down. Now, I want you to write this down, and welcome to all of those of you who got the email link and came late. I'm so sorry for the tech mix-up we had today. And I'm really glad you hung in there and that you showed up today. So what that tells me is that you have a very, very clear intention to heal. You don't give up easily. Most of the people who end up with me don't. You might have a chronic condition, but you have not given up, or you wouldn't be here. you wouldn't be still seeking. You would be numbing out with a lot of meds or figuring out, how to just give up. But you haven't done that. And I just really want to say, like, you need to acknowledge yourself for that. It does take courage when you're in pain, especially a physical pain, mental, emotional pain. It takes a certain type of strength to keep seeking, especially, and I know this is true for most of you, especially if you've done a lot of things already to try to fix it and you didn't get relief. That's not easy it's easier to give up, but is it really? Is it really? Is it really easier to give up and just lie on the couch the rest of your life or drug yourself till you can't, you're a zombie? No, that's not easier. That's a painful way that's not even living. I won't even call that living. It's having a heartbeat, maybe, but that's not living. When you come here, you're going to receive a different understanding of how the precursor happens before things show up in your body or your life. And this is what I want you to write down. Everything in the physical world, including your body, something else came first, and it was not physical. It was invisible. I'll explain in a minute. Let me say it again. Everything that has shown up in your physical body that you don't like, don't want, would just do whatever it takes to get rid of, something else came first that caused it to show up in your body. And it was invisible. Now you might be thinking, well, I had a skiing accident. I had a car accident. I fell. Like, I understand you had a physical experience, but something even comes first before that happens. Because you don't have an accident every time you ski. You don't fall down every day, all day. You don't have car accidents all the time. You had it at a particular moment in time. And there's reasons for that are invisible. Everything starts in the invisible realm of what I will call subtle energy. Subtle meaning you can't see it, touch it, feel it. It's subtle. It's like fog at the ocean. You can tell it's there, but you can't really grab onto it. It's there and then it's not there and you're not really sure where it is. It's misty. If something happens to change that fog, it can become rain. It can become ice cubes. The same thing. One is more physical, more dense, the ice cube. Your body's like the ice cube. It came later. The mist came first. So what the hell is she talking about, the mist? All right. So the invisible are your thoughts and your emotions. Your thoughts are like water, and your emotions, or excuse me, your emotions are like water. They're stronger than thoughts in many cases. You can feel them physically. Most people are not aware of feeling their thoughts physically, but they are aware of feeling their emotions physically. Can you with me here? Can you relate to that? Anybody? Yeah. Okay, good. Thoughts, when you get really good at listening, you will feel where your thoughts are in your body too. But that takes practice because thoughts are more subtle. They're like the water vapor. You're not sure where they're coming from or where they're going. But emotions, if they're strong enough, you know where they are. Like I had something happen earlier this week. I actually felt pain in my heart, physical pain. I knew exactly what it was from. I knew I needed to cry. I knew I needed to get it out, and I did, and it's gone. And it took all of 15 minutes. But I have had clients going to the ER with all the symptoms of a heart attack and thinking they're going to die. And this going on and on and on because they can't find anything on a medical test. And then they start doing more tests, and then they give the person a drug, and the drug creates side effects. This can go on for a long time because no one's asking the right questions. And the thoughts and the emotions are then building up and getting bigger and stronger and more. And you're getting afraid of them because you don't understand. And then the physical feedback it's trying to give you is being misunderstood and trying to be suppressed by modern medicine. Thank you very much. And so it all goes in the wrong direction. And this is why so many people are frustrated, are exhausted, are skeptical, and are drugged and feel loopy and can't think straight and can't function, because there's a trail that will lead you, even a well-meaning doctor. I'm not here to make negative comments about doctors. My whole families are those doctors. I love them dearly, but they have a limited way of helping people, and it's very limited, and it does not get to the root. And even if they mean well, you can get temporary relief sometimes even, and then it comes back, or it doesn't really give you much relief, or it doesn't last. And this is because the training for both conventional and alternative medicine doesn't go deep enough to the roots. And all dis-ease comes from what I said when we began the call: habits of thought that are absolutely not true and that are harmful to you, most of which that you got earlier in life and you didn't know it and it wasn't your fault. And habits of thought create emotional reactions, and these emotions are very powerful. They are as real as electricity. They are emitting frequencies and chemicals. Literally, emotions literally create a chemical reaction in your body that affects your brain and your organs and your health and your immune system and your nervous system. And if you're bathing in these harmful chemicals, for example, fear, which is a very low vibration, emits a very strong frequency. And I can tell you that to where I'm at today in my life, because I'm so aware, if something frightens me deeply, which doesn't happen much anymore, but I can literally have all the symptoms of swollen glands, fever, full-blown like flu-like symptoms within 20 seconds from fear. I can also get rid of it that quickly. But the point is that your body responds immediately to vibrations, high and low, and everywhere in between. And you have certain habits of emotion and habits of thought that probably no one's ever taught you to examine. And you've been rehearsing these for decades. And this is how chronic conditions, chronic pain, and other chronic conditions show up. It's not because you're stupid. It's not because you haven't tried. It's not your karma. It's not that you're cursed. It's not that you have an entity attached to you. It is from habits of thought and emotions that become habitual, that are harmful to your system. They create tension, fear, stress, worry, doubt. That becomes labeled anxiety disorder. It gives you stomach aches, headaches. Fear creates all kinds of symptoms in the body. So does guilt, shame, anger. And I'm not saying any of these emotions are bad and that you should ever stop them. You need to learn to release them. All emotions are not good or bad, right or wrong. Write that down. Emotions are not good or bad, right or wrong. And we should all be able to feel the full range of all emotions. That is a sign of real health, to be able to feel all emotions. You want to think of emotions like all the colors in a crayon box. They're all beautiful in their own right. What if there was only yellow in the entire universe? It would be the most boring place. Our lives are rich with colors. Colors are emotions. You don't want to limit them. You don't want to only paint with brown. It just is not the way nature is intended. Nature is unlimited, continuously expressing itself fully and freely. That's how you are designed. Every single one of you here with me on the call or listening to this call, you are part of nature. You are designed and coded in your DNA as an unlimited being designed to fully and freely express your unique DNA code. You have a thumbprint that no one else has in the universe. How incredible is that? That's a sign from whatever you think the creator is, whatever interpretation you have of that. That is a sign that you are a unique being with a blueprint to follow. You have your own unique design. It's coded right there in your skin. It's something that still to this day, I'm just in awe of. However, and this is the sad fact for many, 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 many people, the fishbowl you were raised in affected how you feel about yourself. It affected how you think about yourself. And if you don't learn how to clear out the damaging beliefs that I was sharing earlier about that I got from my grandfather, if you don't learn to clear out the damaging, destructive beliefs, those habits of thought, those ideas you have about yourself, and if you don't learn to clear out those destructive emotions, which lower your vibration, keep you feeling stuck and blocked, like you just can't heal no matter what you try, you won't find that your true self is still in there waiting to be rediscovered. You think you lack something. You think you need fixing. You think you need it from the outside, and you don't. You don't. This is what makes this approach here so different. There's nothing I could give you that would make you better or more whole, perfect, and complete. You already are, but you got covered over with a bunch of fog that you gathered it along in the course of your life. It's time to clear that stuff away and make room. And what you're going to find that I found and that everyone I have worked with finds is that inside of you right this second is a beautiful, lovable, I could go on and on. You are perfect, whole, and complete right now, whether you think that's a bunch of bunk or not, whether you have accessed that part of you or not, ever. I promise you, you are, and no one can take that from you. The light can get pretty darn dim from our life experiences, but that pilot light is not out, and it can come right back up and full blown turn that flame on by doing the work that I teach. And it doesn't take as long as you might think. And it's not as hard as you might think. And it doesn't require, in my universe anyway, a single pill, supplement, giving up all the foods you love, none of those things that are the typical common approach. Again, I'm not against those approaches. They work for some people. If they work for you, great, do them. But most of the people that end up on my doorstep, they have tried those things and they haven't worked. And that's because, listen closely, you have not gone deep enough to the damaging thoughts and cleared out the damaging emotions. I can practically guarantee that that's what's going on. And this is the good news. That might sound like, yeah, but I've been working on myself for so long and now I have more work to do. I know what you're thinking. But the good news is that this is part of your spiritual evolution, and you're actually ready to grow and blossom into a new chapter that you didn't even realize is a divine gift. You're ready to move into an expanded state that you may not have asked for, prayed for, wanted, don't care about, but your pain or whatever symptom is drawing you to here, to my universe, your pain is your wake-up call that you wouldn't have done this without. And I promise you, there is a bigger horizon than you know about. You, whether you get it or not, whether you want to get it or not, you're having a human experience, but you are an unlimited energy being. I call it spiritual being, energy being. You can use the words interchangeably. I don't mean this in a religious way, but if you are religious, I also mean it in that way because everybody's been trying to teach us this, and they've used different language, and it's gotten all distorted. So people are scared of this language, and some people like only that language, and some people hate that language, get scared of it. It's all safe, what I'm saying, because you are an energetic being. Now, I like the approach that comes from physics because it's not threatening to anyone. And you can have whatever belief system and whatever religion you want. It doesn't matter. You still are an energetic being. We know that. We can measure the light coming off of you. We know that we're all emitting light, and we all carry information in our codes, in our cells, in our DNA. That's physics. There's nothing weird about that. There's nothing woo-woo about that. And it's not a moral issue either. It doesn't make you a good person or a bad person. It's like saying the electrical lighting in my house is good or bad. No, it's electric. It's energy. So are you. And you might be the charge of your system may be off and out of whack. It's similar. I like to always use the metaphor of like a guitar. It's easy to understand. A guitar with all its strings that are tuned up plays gorgeous music if you know how to play it. But if the strings go out of tune, you don't throw out the guitar or tell it it's just a piece of junk, and you don't medicate it. You tune up the strings. The strings just were out of tune. Your physical body is the same. And we get out of tune from habits of thought and destructive emotions that lower your vibrational frequency. I'm going to sound like a broken record because I am a broken record, because this is the fact. And once you get it and the lights go on, you go, oh my God, it's simpler than I realized. It can be addressed rapidly, safely, no more pills. And we start to clear these things up. And oftentimes right away, I see it every week in my pain-free living program. People get relief from day one. And they start to thank me because they finally get the answers they've been searching for. They finally realize, oh my God, I'm not a hopeless case. Because look, it's easy when you go out there and you search the Dr. Google, you're going to see, well, I tried that and I did that and I did that and it didn't work for me. And that's discouraging as hell. And then you think you're a hopeless case. You are not a hopeless case, promise you. You are misunderstanding something, and that's not your fault either. Or you may have done only one of the puzzle pieces. This is another reason people don't heal, is that they do, for example, maybe you've stumbled upon belief clearing. There are people out there that talk about you need to examine your beliefs and change them. But if that's all you do, my friends, you will get stuck at some point. You won't go the whole way. It requires 3 areas. 1, finding and releasing the damaging thoughts. 2, finding and releasing the damaging emotions. And this is where not a lot of people have that kind of training. I had somebody, I think she's on the call tonight, somebody even have a therapist tell her, just no more, you're not allowed to feel your emotions here. How the hell are you supposed to heal if you can't have your emotions come up? There are a lot of people afraid of emotions because we live in a society that really doesn't have a high opinion of them. We've been taught to intellectualize and think about it and figure it out with the mind. And you will see continuously, it's all in the mindset. It's all in the mindset. It's all in the mindset. My friends, I sing a different tune here. The mindset is part of the problem, but it's not all in the mindset. I would say actually, it's actually stronger in the emotional body than the mindset. And you can positive mindset your day and night till you're blue in the face. If you don't deal with those emotions, you're going to have pain and symptoms and suffer and say, what's wrong with me? Why do I still hurt? Because it's not all in just the mindset. You've got to learn to feel if you want to heal. And this is the reason I wrote my book. If you haven't downloaded my book yet, Why Do I Still Hurt? Please either get a copy on Amazon if you like to dog ear and underline. Otherwise, there's a free copy on my website. You want to read the book because it's like a workbook that gives you things to do to start to bring up what I'm talking about tonight so you can heal. Now, I mentioned area number 1, area number 2, area number 3, and this is where I'm here to help you because I have discovered, thank you God, I discovered a method years ago that speeds up the entire healing process that I call high-speed healing. And area number 3 is your energy field. And this is the least understood area in the medical world. It's why I'm constantly speaking and educating and doing podcasts and interviews and telesummits and all these things and free calls like this, because I want, my mission is very clear to me. I have to keep getting the word out and teaching people and helping people experience the energy field and the importance of it. We don't have time anymore. We're out of time to spend 40 years trying to find the one specific belief or all the beliefs that are affecting us. We don't need to do that. We don't need to sit and feel every single emotion every single day, all day from the trauma from childhood. No, there's a faster way. And this was revealed to me first as far back as 1984. But I had a lot of clearing to do before I had the courage to come out publicly with this, because it was really different back then. It's still kind of new and unfamiliar to people now, but there's more and more science coming out about the biofield, the energy field. So it's getting easier for people to accept this. Back in the 80s and 90s and in early 2000s, God, talk about patience, which is not my strong suit, but people just looked at me like, are you nuts? Like, what are you talking about? Because there just wasn't a lot out there. And I was a solo, on my own. And so now the word is out and the science is out. And there's actually been a lot of research, but nobody saw it because the people doing this type of research, that they are in subtle energies physics labs. And there are quite a few. Some of them have passed away, but there's over 40 years of research that I finally discovered. And there's research that comes out of Japan and Russia, which you never hear about. And that's because nobody goes to a subtle energy research lab for a medical issue. Nobody. And no doctor has the equipment that measures the energy field and photographs the energy field and measures the emotions. I've never met a doctor yet who has this. And so our foundation for the way we deal with medical issues, are totally different than everything that's the foundation from what I teach. And all that research was in typically physics, and they didn't have the funding because there's no need for pharmaceutical drugs. And so there's nothing to really sell in terms of what you typically see that is used for handling medical issues. It's a different trail, and it's very safe, and it doesn't get you addicted. And so if you have open ears, you hear what I'm saying. It's why you never heard about it on mainstream TV. There's nothing to sell really other than the services that provide. And then you heal. And when you heal, you are done. And then that doesn't mean that, life happens, stuff can happen to me, to you, to everybody, but you now have some tools. Like the tools that I teach are for self-clearing, self-care. When you understand, well, two things. One, because I forgot to mention the most important part about area number 3. So your energy field. So I can scan your energy field and in seconds feel where there are disturbances. I've become super sensitive. You think you're sensitive? I am super sensitive. I can scan you with or without a Zoom call. And just like you're in front of me, even if you're in a group, I can feel where the disturbed frequencies are. And I am 100% clear that um, there are frequencies of healing that are live streaming through the cosmos all the time, 24/7. And you might think of them as angels. They are, but they are more than just angels. And I'm connected to that 24/7. It doesn't take me any time to transfer these beautiful healing frequencies to you. It's my job. And I accepted the mission years ago, and I love the mission. And it gives me a thrill to see how rapidly many people can heal when you go and use these higher dimensional healing frequencies. What I mean by that is it's a higher state than the mental realm. And most of the new healing you see out there is still based on mental realm, the brain, the neuroscience, all this. Again, it's great stuff, but it's not the higher realm. It's not the higher frequencies. What makes this unique and what makes it so fast and so effective is it helps you access a higher vibrational frequency than you're able to on your own. Because if you could have done it on your own by now, you would have, trust me. When I experienced it, it was all that I wanted to figure out and learn how to access and do more of. And then when it was shown to me how to help other people access this, there's nothing that brings me greater joy, because eventually, and I can train people in this as well. It does take some training and some practice to develop the sensitivity and to be able to maintain and sustain it. But in the meantime, I can help you more rapidly clear away the mental habits and the emotions that you haven't been able to do on your own, or that take too damn long to do on your own. And we just get it out. And usually I see within 1 day to 1 month, and certainly within 3 months, I see amazing healing results for people. And often, and I know, look, I get it. I know this sounds too good to be true, but I went into those research labs with different types of cases so that they could study what I was doing. And they found that my method is bringing 6 times the pain decrease and the emotional improvement in starting with the very first session in less than an hour. They saw a 67% improvement starting with the very first session. And they've never seen that in any other method they've studied in 25 years of research, from acupuncture to, all these other healing, energy healing methods, Reiki and everything, to chiropractic. They've studied all this for 25 years in one of the main labs in the country. And I've been there more than once. And they said they've never seen results like this. So I don't say it to brag. I say it to say, wake up. You're not stuck. You're not hopeless. And yes, I don't want you dependent on me the rest of my life either. So this is where, over the years, what I discovered is I need to teach people the self-care tools. That's why I created the Pain-Free Living program. Because in the early years, I worked on people's energy fields, and they said, oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you so much. And quite a number of them, a great percentage. I would work on them. I found that 3 to 4 sessions, no, let me say 4 to 6 sessions on average was helping the majority of people. But there was about 10% that would come back. It could be a year later and say, Deborah, the pain is back, that this is back, that is back. Why is it back? And so I sat down and had a conversation with every single one of the people that ever called me and said it's back. And I found out in every single case, it was either a false belief that was scaring them. And so the emotions came back and boom, their body responded. It's everything I've been teaching you here today. And so what I kept doing in those days, I only worked one-on-one. And I was saying the same thing every day, over and over to individual people, teaching the same thing over and over. It was tiring. So I realized I needed to create a program that could get it to more people faster. And that's why I created the Pain-Free Living program. And I just kept tweaking it till I got it where I needed it to be that would be most beneficial for the majority of people. So I know some of you have taken it or are currently in it that are on the call today, or maybe listening to the call. You can't hear the message enough. Like it needs to kind of drip, 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 drip. And then one day you go, oh my God, I get it. And you have to practice the tools that are in the worksheets that are in the homework. So, but it works. And if you do that program and you practice the self-care and you receive the energy healing over a period of time, on average between 1 and 3 months, you would have to be either dead or just not doing anything for something not to change. And so what I'm trying to say is that you're participating, but probably unknowingly, in the very thing you're spending your time, energy, and money trying to get rid of. So you want to learn what you're doing. And that requires examining the beliefs and having the self-care tool to fix them. And as if not more important, because this is where most people just don't know what to do. Where and how you're storing up the emotions in your body, and they're affecting your organs and your nervous system and your immune system. And you need the tools I teach, and I teach a few of them, that bring them up and move them out. So you're not afraid of your feelings and you're not afraid to live your life. And you don't walk around exhausted, because guess what the number one reason for chronic fatigue is? This surprises a lot of people. It's from years of holding emotions in and down. It takes so much energy to hold emotions in and down. You will eventually just feel exhausted. And the other main reason for pain and exhaustion is that you're fighting and you're resisting something. You're working against it. You're pushing so hard to try to make something happen or stop something from happening. That takes energy, and it's the wrong approach to healing pain. And this is what most people with pain do, is they try to fight it, get rid of it. I'm going to tough it out. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to, ignore it. I'm going to power through, Deborah. I hear this every day. And then one day they end up just flat on their back in bed because they're just so worn out. This approach is different. It will set you free. It will bring lightness to your life, your body, your mind. You will discover you have very little to worry about. You're probably minding a lot of business that isn't yours to mind. You're probably finding out you're trying to control a lot more than you really need to control. And it's exhausting. Tanya's laughing because she knows what I'm talking about. And when I know Tanya well enough to say I'm probably safe saying this. When she came to me, she was trying to control her daughter quite a bit, and she was worn out. And she got that all straightened out now. It's for the most part, right? You want to share anything?
Sure, I will share that letting go of wanting the best for your children as they go through college and grad school and life happens is the best and the most difficult lesson I've had to learn, that um, good desires can lead you to controlling things that other people have to experience on their own.
Yeah.
And the only way to help you get through it without harming yourself by creating illness with the tension, and for that other person to grow and to trust you, is to be a good listener, offer suggestions when they want it, but otherwise just love them and believe in the goodness of the soul.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, my daughter has always had a wonderfully good soul. She's struggling and learning a lot of things and making progress. And that is not my responsibility. It's between her and God and the examples we set. So yeah, it's just I've learned that from your lessons about resistance and control and everything. So I'm forever grateful for this, for knowing you.
And
Thank you.
it's a two-way street. And I feel, and I should mention, and you're no longer binge eating every day and night or over exercising to get rid of that habit and harming yourself over this, which is really, I mean, Tanya has just day and night changed.
Yeah, hardly ever. Emotional eating, binge eating, like 30 years of it occasionally is basically gone. Exercise is a little trickier because there's the good bad part of it and the
Right.
bad part, but that's cut down at least like 30 minutes a day, which is huge. So I'm like, yeah,
Huge.
I'm still an athlete, but I'm not an obsessive compulsive athlete.
There you
Oh,
go.
big difference. Yeah.
Big difference. And the angst and the exhaustion and the pain of all of this, this is the kind of change that happens here, everybody. And it's not that hard. It just takes willingness, and you all have that ability, and it just takes repetition. And you all have that ability because that's how you got where you got. So, um, before I forget, I'm going to make sure everyone, if you're new to all this, because there are a lot of new people on the call, I'm so happy that all of you made it. There's over 80 people live on the call. And I know we had, again, apologies if you got here late because of the Zoom link. Ugh. But, it all works out. And those are what's that saying? I love this. What's meant for me will never pass me by. What's meant for you will never pass you by. So you're here because you were meant to be here. And maybe those that aren't here tonight aren't, and they'll listen to the recording, but don't lose your cookies and your serenity over a Zoom link. I try not to. I have to practice that every day. Um, and it's not a reason to get in pain. And I'd say in this century, Zoom is probably one of our greatest teachers next to our children. It's Zoom because every day something happens on Zoom that doesn't go our way. And we can use that as a teacher instead of, it's an indicator of when I can always tell when my self-care is really good or when I need more self-care. When I need more self-care, I will feel resentful. I will say things I wish I hadn't said. I will use a lot of adult language that you don't want to hear. But when my self-care is really good, it's like, so what? I'm not going to sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. That's really the way it is. And so everything in life on the outside that you're reacting to emotionally is a reflection of your and my inner self-care. It's our thermometer. It's not them that's the villain. It's my inner thermometer. They are my thermometer. They're telling me where I'm out of whack and that I need more self-care. And that doesn't mean you'll never feel angry or upset, but you certainly won't stew on it and put it in the crock pot and let it sit there for days or weeks or months till you have an ulcer, like I used to do. You won't do that anymore. You'll be done with all of that way of having your body carry pain and disease because you're not releasing. So the mind, the emotions, the energy field, fastest way to speed all of this up is see, your energy field is like a recording device. And everything that's ever happened to you it's imprinted vibrationally in your energy field. And I can find it and feel it. And you don't have to dig around for 10 years wondering, did I find it? Did I get the belief? Did I get the emotion? When you're ready, it will either just release. Sometimes you won't even remember what it was. You don't always have to talk about it or remember it or re-experience it. So those of you with severe trauma, which is why most people are afraid to do the inner work if you've had a lot of trauma, because you don't want to get re-triggered is the word, the common word. This doesn't even re-trigger for most people. A lot of people will just release it. Sometimes there are tears that are shed, but it's rapidly released. And you don't have to be afraid that you're going to get lost there for another 10 years. It doesn't happen here. It's the fastest way I've ever seen to release trauma of any kind, including accidents and injuries. And if you ever had surgery and you came out worse than when you went in, that type of thing. This works brilliantly for this. And once you address those three areas together in a short time frame, your life will be on a different trajectory and your energy comes back and you feel hopeful again. And it's not because you're just reciting affirmations hoping that you feel hopeful. You'll actually feel hopeful because it comes from within. And you'll tap into parts of you that you didn't know were there and you didn't remember. And that's the most beautiful thing. And I usually, call it happy birthday time. You get a rebirth. It's, when I had that happen personally, I understood what was meant by a rebirth. I felt like I was getting a second chance at life, and I did. And everything changed in my life. Everything might not change in your whole life, but for me it did, because I was really out of whack. All the choices I made were so wrong for me. So I was ready for a whole new life, basically. And that's what led me here. Now, if you're new to the Pain-Free Living program and you don't know what I'm talking about, I want to make sure that you all know that as a way of saying thank you and trying to twist your arm, let me put in the chat, I have a link that will give you the program at half off when you commit to the live group calls. And we have those calls 3 times every month on Wednesdays. And I'm going to put the link so you can get all the information about that in the chat. It's international, oops, gotta spell it right, internationalcpi.com/PFLP, stands for Pain-Free Living Program. I put that in the chat. You can type in capital letters, lowercase letters. I don't think it matters, but it's international CPI, it stands for Chronic Pain Institute.com/PFLP. And that stands for Pain-Free Living Program. You will see more details about it. And you can come with any type of pain. It doesn't matter if it's physical pain or not. All pain is welcome, whether it's relationships, finance, romance, binge eating, digestive drama, insomnia. What else is common? Thyroid issues. People come with all kinds of stuff. Heart issues, surgeries, injuries, whatever it is. The program is designed to address a very, very wide range. I don't know of anything it doesn't really address. Because as I've been saying today, the roots of all things physical are invisible. Please write that down. I want you to think about that. I want you to ponder that. I want you to read my book and understand that at a deeper level. I want you to come work with me and come into the program and do the PFLP program and really understand that, because it's going to change your life. It's not just about physical health. It's a grander understanding of who you are and the total freedom that I know you're searching, and your health is trying to get you there, because freedom is about fully expressing who you are and following your blueprint. When you do that, you will naturally have health. This really is a program about freedom and finding yourself. And when you do that, you will have much greater energy. You will not fear life. You will feel comfortable in your skin. You won't be searching for what pills to take all the time. You will not spend your life savings on doctor visits. I mean, there's just a long list of how it will benefit you. Your relationships will change, first with yourself, with life itself, with God of your understanding, with your friends, your family members. It's just incredible how it branches out in all directions. And it's a joy to watch people blossom. And I want that for you. So check that out. If you have any questions, just email us. We answer every email, and happy to help you figure out. I also work with people one-on-one. So if you know you're not a group person or you're not ready for a group, there are several ways to work with me privately. So just email us if you don't know which or what to do. And either I or my assistant will help you figure out what's the best next step for you. But we're here to help and to take away that I used to have this sense of impending doom all the time, every day. Impending doom, like, when is the next shoe going to drop? When is the rug going to be pulled out from under me? I finally feel a little better, and now I crash again. Like, I don't live with that impending doom anymore. And I know Amy's shaking her head, and others of you you know what I'm talking about. It's exhausting. It's a fear-based way of living, and we're headed for a much better chapter, my friends. We really are. There's a lot going on this planet. We are changing the vibrational frequency one at a time of the entire planet. And the cosmos is changing. Nature is changing. We're evolving. It's actually a very exciting time once you see what's happening and you stop seeing it as doom and gloom, and you get on board with the tools to raise your vibration. And you learn how to just stay there more regularly. You're not going to do it perfectly. You don't need to. But if you even 51% of the time start to catch what I'm offering here, you will never look back, and you'll never go back on purpose. That's for sure. You won't. So let me look at a few comments and questions. There's been a lot in the chat, but I haven't had a chance to look at this. All right. Thank you all for your patience with the password tonight. I'm so glad you're here. And as Allison said, without the tech, we wouldn't be able to connect. So it's a blessing, even on a bad day. Yes, the pilot light can be dimmed, but it's never extinguished. And it can be constantly turned up brighter and brighter and shinier. Absolutely, 100%. And what's so beautiful about it is you'll get to know yourself so deeply. The more you attend calls like this and practice the tools I teach, you'll recognize where and when you're dipping back down into an old vibration that you don't want. And then you'll have a choice over it. That's the gift, is that you want to get to that place where you feel like the power's in you. It's not out there. You haven't lost it. It's that you have the power in you to choose. And when you were a child, you didn't have the power to choose. You did, but it was taken from you. It was suppressed. It was beaten out of you, learned out of you. Now it's time to take it back. And you're never too old, my friends. You are never too old to take it back and learn how to keep it and let the past stay in the past and leave it there. So that's not a place or an excuse to get stuck. Allison mentioned that sometimes people use emotions as an excuse, so they've gained a bad reputation. Well, rather than saying it's an excuse, what I have found in working with so many people is that it was the best tool in their toolbox to get what they wanted or needed to get in their lives. And had they had a better tool, they would have used it. But if all you've got is a wrench and you need a hammer, you'll use the wrench. Now, what a specific example of that is that in the olden days, I did not have the inner self-esteem to say, no, I don't want to do that. That's not for me. I couldn't say no to save my life. But after you do that for a couple of decades and you're sick as a dog because you can't say no and you're a people pleaser and queen of the people pleasing squad, I would say, I'm just too upset, or I'm too tired, or I'm too sick, or this hurts, or that hurt, because people understand that. And they say, oh, we understand. We'll do it when you're better, when you're feeling better, when you're in a better mood, when your back doesn't hurt. And so I didn't purposely try to do that to be manipulative, but unfortunately it is manipulative and it's very dishonest. But at the time, that was the best I could do because I didn't have any other skills and the ability and the self-esteem to set boundaries. Now I do. So look out and don't mess with me. No, I'm just kidding. But now I really do. And so I'm not afraid to say no. It's not a big deal. It doesn't make me shake in my boots. It did the first couple time or two or three, because I never grew up with anybody encouraging me to say no. I never had that inner strength developed, but now I do. And you're no different than I am. These are things we learn and that I teach in the Pain-Free Living program. Oh, wow. Marie is saying she still listens to a meditation that I did 7 years ago that is still helping her. I mean, see, there are things that you just don't outgrow. You don't have to constantly look for the new this and the new that and the new. I mean, there are certain universal truths that I think they last over time and they work in any situation and they meet you at the level you're at. And then when you're ready for more, they reveal more. That's kind of what happens here. And especially with the energy healing, that really happens. What's meant for me will never pass me by. Yeah, that's a good mantra to start practicing. Anna's on the call, and Anna is currently in my Pain-Free Living program, and she mentioned in the chat that the breathing technique that I teach and the meditation is helping her to attract different things and different people in her life. And let me tell you, she was suffering when she first got here, and she hasn't been here that long, and she's showing dramatic changes, and it's just so beautiful to watch. So I'm really glad. Thank you, Anna, for that. Let's see. Yeah, Faye, it gets exhausting and it's also an exciting time. And once you are on the right track, you won't feel the exhaustion. You'll feel the exhilaration more and less of the heaviness that's out there and that's surrounding us. You always have a choice. That's what I mean. You can feel it personally, but you are also going to feel it planetarily. I think I just made that word up. You will feel the heaviness or the high vibration that's happening on the planet. There's two tracks, my friends. There's a lot of people on both tracks. And depending on which track you get on, you're going to end up in a different location and you're going to feel a completely different life experience. So it's very easy to get bogged down in the heavy. And it can feel draining and scary and terrible and all of that. But there's a whole other train with empty seats waiting for you. So stay on the trail here and you'll be led to that track. Wendy's asking, does this fix OCD or other issues? Well, let me repeat. My program and my energy healing method, known as high-speed healing, doesn't fix anything. What it does is it clears out the disturbances that you collected like lint on black clothing in your life. You collected disturbances throughout your entire life from the people, the places, the situations, the experiences that you've had that were done to you, given to you, that you witnessed, that you took in. And you've done some of the damage yourself to yourself that you either know that you did or you don't, or you didn't know that you did. But you don't need fixing, you need clearing out. So my program and my method rapidly releases these low vibrational disturbances and helps you, sometimes immediately in the first session, really quickly. It helps you access a higher state of consciousness where there is no dis-ease. Now, yogic monks can do this, but they've been meditating every day for 40 years. You know, if you have some kind of practice that you've been doing for 40 years, you might tap into that from now and then. I have never in my life, and I have been meditating for 40 years. I've never, and I've practiced many other healing modalities. And I used to work with people using other healing modalities till this. From the day this came into my life, I've never done any of my old modalities because I've never seen anything help people access this higher state of consciousness so rapidly and easily in my life. So why would I want to go back and walk or take a bus when I could fly an airplane? And what this does is when you are in a higher state, these other disturbances cannot hold their form. They require a lower vibration. And when they can't hold their form, they literally drop out of your field and they cease to exist. And this is why some people overnight say, Deborah, I can see 20/20. Deborah, my cataracts are gone. Deborah, my fibromyalgia is gone. Deborah, my this is gone, my migraines. I slept for the first time in years. Here's another one that I hear quite a lot. I can't believe it, but the person that I've been telling you that bothers me so much, nothing changed. He didn't change. She didn't change. But today it didn't bother me at all. It just sort of rolled right over me. That's a sign of being in a higher dimensional state. When you're in a higher dimensional state, you can hold that higher vibration that's more peaceful and calm and joyful, no matter what's going on around you. You will lose that whole need to change everybody. And this method gets people there the quickest way I know how. So I hope that explains it. So back to your question, I don't fix OCD, but I work with a lot of people with OCD. And when they practice the self-care tools and they get the healing sessions, they lose the compulsion to do whatever they were doing or think what they were thinking or feel what they were feeling. They lose the compulsion, whether it's a compulsion to eat bags of potato chips or, you know, a compulsion to gamble, a compulsion for drugs and alcohol. I've seen people lose. I had one woman who had not gone one day without binge eating in 17 years. And she was not a little binge eater. She was sick as a dog from it. And her doctors were telling her like she was in the danger zone. Boom, within a week of the pain-free living program, she was noticing it's gone. And it happened so naturally, she didn't even realize it at first. Took her quite a few days to recognize, oh my God, it's kind of like waking up from a dream and you, wow, was that real? That's what happens. All right, question. In the group, the question is, how often are the healing sessions? So they occur once a month in the group. However, we record all of them. So you could, and you get access to the learning portal which has an entire library of every video call. So you could binge watch in there like 24/7 for a year or more. And you can do the healing session every day from the recording if you wish, but I do them live every month as well. Some people like the live better, some people like the recorded ones better. So we give you both. And then she said, asking if I should do the program or a one-on-one because I'm ill and in a crisis. And I think I need a one-on-one, but I know the program offers the continuing support. All right, so I would say that if finances are a concern, and I know that is for some of you, I would do the group because you will get 3 months of support, which you're going to need. And it's better to go a little slower because if you come to a one-on-one with the expectation of everything changing in one session, because I can only afford one session, you're going to be so tense that you will probably even like not get the full benefit if you were in a more relaxed mindset about it. So I would recommend the group. And what happens is you're going to get results in the group and your money will, I won't make a guarantee, but I will tell you money is energy. And the same things that are affecting your health are affecting your money. And they're completely related. I promise you, I see this every day. And so whether you have lack of health or lack of money, it's the same underlying issue. And you want to get the results with the pain-free living program that will help you understand what you're doing and how to change that. And then the healing sessions, and you'll get my direct support in the group. So that is a better, I think, a more reasonable and a more affordable way to get longer term help. That's what I would do. And once your money starts flowing, which it will, then you can also reach out for private or privates if you still need them. So that's my 2 cents about that. Now, if you're in a crisis state, though, anybody, and you know that it's life or death, or they're telling you it's life or death, then you probably want my one-on-one healing intensive. And that's where we work together privately for a month. And then you move into the group after that. So I hope that helps. Let's see. I love it. Faye says, my husband now knows I mean business. She's taken her power back. All right. Let's see what other questions here. Let's see. Yeah, Janet is standing up more and more for herself. Wow, she's become a real fireball over there. I'm so proud and happy for you, Janet. It's really been amazing how quickly and she dove into those materials. She could be the next poster girl for the PFLP. She really just like went to town on doing her homework and she got results as a result of that. Someone is asking, is it possible to end the live membership before the end of the quarter? You can end it at any time. You are committing and paying for the 3 months of access to the program materials and the live calls with me. But you can not come to any call. There are many people who've signed up and they don't ever come to the live calls. And you can cancel at any time, but we don't refund you after you've committed. I really only want to work with people who are 100% in. Like, this is not a come, I'll test the waters, and if I don't like it, I'm going to leave. Like, you're not ready. If you're ready and you're willing, we want everyone in the group to be 100% committed, because then we're all on that same level and nobody will bring anybody else down because they're not really fully in with their heart and soul. So it just means it's not your time for this. Maybe down the road, it would be a better time. All right, let's see. Any last minute burning questions? Otherwise, oh yeah, there's no coupon. Someone's asking, where's the coupon? There's no coupon code. When you go to that link, which is internationalcpi.com/PFLP, it will bring up a page where you will see 2 choices. You can buy the e-course all by itself, and do it home alone in your living room, which is great, but I don't recommend it really. Most people have questions and want live and need live support. So then next to that, you'll see another column where you get the 3 months of live support and the library. See, with the e-course alone, you don't get the library. You have an entire library of video calls with a ton more of meditations, visualizations, healing techniques that I teach you, so you can do those on your own. And then you'll be able to listen to previous calls that are all, different themes, and the Q&A from some of our really amazing conversations that we have in there. You'll get all of that and get it for half off when you commit to the 3 months of live calls. The link again is international CPI. Oh, let me type it. You're asking me to type it. Sorry, hold on. Let me go over here. All right. It's internationalcpi.com/PFLP. I think you might be able to click on that in the chat and it should open up in a browser window. Everyone can try that. It should open up. And if not, you just cut and paste it or copy it and type it into your browser. You can also find it on my website, which is internationalcpi.com, www. Or just type in internationalcpi.com. There will be, yes, for those of you who joined late today, no, don't you apologize. I'm sorry, my team put in the wrong password. Insert adult words. So yes, there will be a replay. And we'll send it out first thing tomorrow. As soon as they get it, I'll upload it and do all the tech. It'll go out again. And you may want to listen to this call again. There's a lot that happened here tonight and a lot of great information. Thank you, Arden, and everybody who was on the call tonight. I really appreciate you all being here. And I'm going to go back over here and close that out. And why don't we just take a moment? I'm going to ask you all to unmute. Hang on. And let's say good night so we can hear our own vibration. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's my favorite part of the call. Bye, everyone.
Bye.